Hi, and welcome to another installment in Revelation's online training series. My name is Bob Carten. I've been with Revelation for quite a while, and my goal today is to teach you about Commuter module event handlers. I want you to get some sense of what they are and when you use them. What they are, in our environment, we've used the word Commuter module for years. In other environments, I've heard them referred to as event pumps. If you're an object-oriented type, they are the controller of the model view controller design pattern. Why do we use them? We use them because they support rapid application development. OpenInsight is a tool geared to allow you to rapidly develop business applications. Business applications are notorious for having lots of business rules and having those rules change all the time. So you want to use a tool, that's ours, but also a coding style that supports the business development environment. And what we do by routing all the events into one module is minimize the number of places you need to look when you need to change something. So I talked about model view controller, and in that, in the business, our Windows business applications, we typically have a screen as the view. That screen might have different controls, something you enter, or a button you click, or a grid. And if there's a rule or some reason why we need to know that you did something with that, then we want to instruct the window, to tell us that you did something. And the way we have it tell it is we tell the window to generate events. And then what I want to do is have a response that comes back to the user. I may turn the thing red because it's the wrong value. I may simply read the next record. Whatever it is, for every event, if I need to generate a response, I will. So let's talk about these events. I've drawn a line here that shows those events going back and forth. OpenInsight physically has some different ways to route those events from the view to the controller. One way, and a common way, is to use what's called a quick event. And that quick event has you just click a button that says, I want the window to route this event. Another way is called code behind form. Code behind form is a more traditional write a small script that handles the event. My point in this lecture is that you shouldn't have those little pieces of script do anything except call the controller. There are times where the quick event won't appropriately call the controller. That's the only time I put code behind form on OpenInsight Forms. Promoted events is a more sophisticated way. In OpenInsight, it'll be the topic of a different one of these video series. And that can also route the events. And finally, in OpenInsight, we have the idea of an MFS, or a trigger, where you can have changes to the database also create events that you route back to the controller. So the point of this bullet was that the routing of the events may take place different ways, but I want you, for a given view, to always route them to the same controller. The reason you do that, again, is to isolate change to one spot. Now, give me a second to erase the board, and I'll show you what one of these controllers looks like. Okay, so now let's take a look at what this looks like. If you're gonna, I'm talking here about using the quick event. What we've done in OpenInsight is implement a standard interface for all of these Commuter modules, and if you have the same interface on your Commuter modules, then the quick event button that says call Commuter module will work for you. What you want to do is, your Commuter module should be a function. If your window or view was named MyWindow, the module's name should be MyWindow_events. And then it will have as parameters the same 6 parameters, or more than 6. The first is the name of the control that fired the event. The second is the name of the event itself. And then we've hard-coded allowing up to 6 parameters in my standard handler. I researched the Windows events that are built into OpenInsight, and none of them need more than 6 parameters. So my standard interface will work for you. What do? Inside of here, I'm going to build a dispatch routine. Given the event, I'm just going to get down and I'm going to say, okay, what was the event? If the event was a create event, go sub create. If the event was the new customer event, go sub new customer. Yada, 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 down through all your events. And then what I always do, for simplicity, is I'll have in the otherwise case, if it wasn't one of the ones I've handled, then I call, and I have a standard chained event handler, and I drop it in. So by doing that, if I have a dozen similar views, I can write specific events for what's specific about that window, and then I can have a generic one that handles all the generic stuff. So I get code reuse. If you were an object-oriented guy, you would call this the ancestor of this program. And I've just, in essence, called super. I drop down through and I return. So my program, my event handler looks like single point of entry, standard interface. I dispatch down into the little script that's going to actually handle the event, or I drop out and return. Very simple interface. Lets me go really fast. Every time a new business event pops in, I just change this one line. None of these other pieces are at risk because I just dispatch another event. And then what it'll look like in the new customer, there might be a block of code that's 20 or 30 lines. So I'm really always writing small blocks of code, but the Commuter module controls how I get there, how I'm set up, and where I look to make my changes. So this style of programming will A, be supported by other tools, but B, and most importantly, will support you in the kind of problems you'll be solving using our tool. That is the point of my talk. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.